I gripped the steering wheel tightly as I navigated through the desolate country road. The night was pitch black, and the only source of illumination came from my headlights, casting eerie shadows on the surrounding trees. I glanced at the clock, which displayed an ominous 3 a.m. I had been driving for hours, my tired eyes struggling to stay open. But I couldn't afford to rest. My best friend Sarah was in trouble, and I was her only hope. Earlier that evening, Sarah had called me in a panic, her voice trembling with fear. She had been driving home from a weekend getaway when her car suddenly broke down on this very road. She was terrified, alone, and had no cell phone signal. Desperation echoed in her voice as she begged me to come to her aid. With my heart pounding, I had jumped into my car and set off on the dark and winding road to rescue her. But now, doubts began to creep into my mind. What if something terrible had happened to her? What if I arrived too late? The questions gnawed at my sanity, and I felt a cold sweat trickle down my spine. Suddenly, my headlights caught a glimpse of something in the distance. I squinted, trying to make out the shape. It was a figure, standing motionless by the side of the road. My heart skipped a beat as I realized it was Sarah. Relief washed over me as I screeched to a halt beside her. She opened the passenger door and collapsed onto the seat, her face pale and eyes wide with terror. She stammered, trying to recount the events that had unfolded. Sarah spoke of a strange man who had emerged from the darkness, his eyes burning with a malevolent gleam. He had chased her through the night, his footsteps echoing ominously behind her. She had stumbled upon a dilapidated house, seeking refuge from her relentless pursuer. Without a moment's hesitation, I shifted the car into gear and floored the accelerator. My only focus was to put as much distance as possible between us and the nightmarish figure that haunted Sarah's every step. But as we raced away, I caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure standing at the edge of the road, watching us with eyes that seemed to glow in the darkness. As we drove, Sarah's breath began to stabilize, and her trembling subsided. The road stretched out endlessly before us, and the silence was deafening. We were enveloped in a thick fog that seemed to consume everything in its path. I fought to keep my eyes open, the exhaustion weighing heavily on me. That's when I heard it. A distant bee